Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about the Peking Opera of China. Now, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name because I probably am, so now I'll just be calling it the Opera of China. So after I got that out of the way, let's start with what it is. This opera was created in the 18th century. It was somewhere around the 16th to 18th century when it started being developed. But that doesn't matter because it was fully developed in 1912. Other stuff also happened in 1912, but I'll be talking about that later. This kind of opera included traditional instruments from China, like the sheng instrument, and it also included many pieces of history from China. This was a non-speaking opera, as in nobody speaked and they only mimed. So there were songs and lyrics, there were music, and then they mimed out their actions, meaning that they performed them without speaking, moving their hands around, making facial expressions, and other stuff like that. Now, the Peking Opera has 4 main roles. Now, I want you to keep in mind that these roles are not characters, these are categories of characters. So each category of character can be a different person. The first role I will be talking about is the Dan role. And again, I might be mispronouncing it. The Dan character is referring to a female lead. But they weren't females though, because before 1912, females weren't allowed to act in China. They weren't allowed to act, so they were replaced by young male leads. These young male leads were called Nandan. I'm mispronouncing it, of course. Nandan. These people were trained in acting of Dan characters, and they were young men. But after 1912, this is the important date I was talking about, females were allowed to act. The next character we have on our list is the sheng role. They are a clown. Well, the sheng role is a clown that is they have white stuff painted on their nose. They have 2 different types. 2 main different types. The Shaosheng and the Wusheng. I'm pronouncing it wrong again, but the Shaosheng and the Wusheng are the 2 main types. There are like 4 other types, I'm pretty sure, but these are the main types. They have this white thing painted on their nose because some people say it represents ugliness, while other people say it represents funniness. But it depends on who you ask, and it also depends on the different roles in the different operas. Next is the Jing role. The Jing role is a role for rough and mighty males. They had a lot of face paint on, which landed them in the category of Huolian, which I'm pronouncing wrong again, Huolian. But not all people with lots of face paint were considered in the Huolian role. There were only characters that had a specific type of how they acted and a lot of face paint, which landed themselves in this category. Last but not least, these are all males besides the Dan role, of course. Last but not least is the Jing role. The Jing role were respectable and honorable men, like people who fought in war or Confucianists. These people were smart or strong and powerful. And all of these roles had different ways of acting and different characters in the stories they had. These stories could range from lots of things, but it was most likely a journey experienced by one person. And as the characters and movements are very limited because there is only one stage, they had different ways to communicate how they acted. Like, for example, if a character was running in circles for a long time, like 15 seconds or so, it meant that they have traveled for miles upon miles, like hundreds of thousands of miles. And if they were whipping an invisible thing, they were just holding a whip, it meant that they were hitting a horse to control it. And there are many other actions that these roles, used to display what would happen in the stories. And that marks the end of my presentation. If you have questions, you can ask me.
Is an opera like
suppose does an opera need like that high pitch singing?
Yes.
So why is it here not even?
What do you mean?
It's called Peking opera. It's supposed to be high pitched singing, just in like a Chinese way.
Yeah, they were.
But you said they weren't saying anything.
They weren't saying anything. They were singing.
Oh.
That's what I meant. Cause what I meant was it wasn't a traditional play, as in like those Shakespeare plays where they talk to each other. They were having an opera, like 3 hours of them just screaming high pitch.
Okay.
What is opera about? It just for multiple story or just for
Multiple stories.
Story.
There's not just one story, but the roles that are mentioned, Dan, Jing, Chou, and Sheng, they all are roles that are in the stories, but there's not a specific story. They can make anything they want that contains these roles. Like how in Khmer, for like the songs, they have like Bat Piet Pram Pi, Bat Piet Pram Bai. They're not a specific song, they're just a way to write those songs.
Do you remember in Khmer we have one team that do, how would you say it in English? We call it a count. Do you know about that?
I think I'm...
The count is the group of people showing about the Ramayana story,
Oh, yes, yes.
and the actor in the team, how to say?
Are all men?
Yeah, are all men.
Yes.
They, even though for the woman character, but
Yes.
so it is similar to the opera.
Yes, it's similar to the Peking opera.
It's not on the specific story.
Yes, but that it's only similar before 1912. After 1912, females were allowed to act in theaters.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.